To the Barbados Museum and Historical Society. We are very happy to have you with us on this most auspicious occasion of the launch of Explore, our new children's gallery, which is created with the remarkable assistance from the Maria Holder Memorial Trust. At this time, I would like to just welcome a few persons who are important to the proceedings, as it were. I would like to recognize our President, Sir Trevor Carmichael, the Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Technological and Vocational Training, the Senator, Dr. the Honorable Rommel Springer, the co-founders of the Maria Holder Memorial Trust, the trustees of the Maria Holder Memorial Trust, the members of the Council of the Barbados Museum and Historical Society, the Brewster family, and of course, the friends and family of those associated with the Barbados Museum and Historical Society who continue to lend us their unstinting support, especially in these challenging times. At this time, I would like to invite Miss Alessandra Cummings, our director, to make some welcome remarks. Thank you.
Good morning, all, and all protocols having been observed, I'd like to take this moment to welcome all of you on behalf of the Barbados Museum and Historical Society. It is my honor and pleasure to welcome everyone here today, not least on behalf of the Council, but also on the management and staff of the Barbados Museum and the management and staff of the Maria Holder Memorial Trust. Forgive me for being a little bit antediluvian, and historical reminders I think are important on some occasions. From its inception, the newly founded Barbados Museum and Historical Society was expected, and I quote, to bring the benefits of the museum to a wider range of people and so fulfill their mission as educationists in their line. However, the vision and plans for specifically a child-focused exhibition and facility only began to take shape after or during and after the Second World War, from around 1942-43. But it began to gain momentum, particularly after the worries of the 1937 riots. And as a result of the Moyne Commission, the Colonial Development and Welfare Commission was established around 1940. Sir Frank Stockdale, chairman of that commission, also received a number of petitions for grants and loans from the funding of the Development and Welfare Commission. And amongst those was one from the Barbados Museum and Historical Society. And he, Sir Frank Stockdale, suggested several areas of improvement for that request, including the development and establishment of a children's museum. So from a grant of £1,800, it's a little bit different. This money was used to geared towards, and I quote, helping children in Barbados to a fuller understanding of the world in which they live and of the things around them. In this way, it is hoped that some help may be given them in equipping them for useful citizenship. The then Director of Education, you might want to hear this, Dr. Springer, was consulted and approved the subjects to be dealt with at the museum, and arrangements were made with the school's authorities for pupils to visit the museum. In 1945, the first iteration of the Children's Museum was open to the public, and by February 1947, the first classes were held here. So ultimately, what we have observed is that multisensory education is nothing new. It is centuries since Thomas Aquinas said, we remember less easily those things which are of subtle and spiritual import, and we remember more easily those things which are gross and sensible, meaning touching things. In more modern times, educational theorists and practitioners have espoused learner-centered, multi-sensory, experiential learning. This was the basis for the renovation then of the Children's Gallery in its previous iteration in May 1992. And I think it is safe to say that this new emanation of child-focused education, Explore, continues that mission and that history. We could not make it happen last year. That was the intention. And last year we would have been celebrating the 75th anniversary of the Children's Museum. So we finally made it happen this year, and for all the reasons you know. But the best gift that we could offer Barbados on this 75th anniversary was the delivery of such a remarkable facility. Thank you. Thank you for helping us celebrate and commemorate this major event when we welcome back many more children and adults to prove that old adage, I hear and I forget. I see and I remember. I do and I understand. Thank you for your attention and thank you for being with us this morning.
Welcome once again. I think I neglected to introduce myself previously. I am actually Kay Hall. I am the Education and Community Outreach Officer of the Barbados Museum and Historical Society. At this time, I would like to invite Mr. Christopher Holder, co-founder and chairman of the Maria Holder Memorial Trust, to make some remarks.
Very complicated. Is that good? It's fine. It's fine.
Is this good?
Yeah, that's fine. That's good. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. As I say, protocols have been observed. I've never waited so long to do an opening. A virus got in the way. But I'm really pleased that today we're going to be here to witness what has been happening behind us here in this wonderful facility. My mother coined the phrase, without education, you have nothing. And already today I've been educated by the words of the director of the museum. Thank you. I've learnt something. We've all learnt something. And throughout our lives, we continue to learn, irrespective of our age. New things crop up. We're exposed to new things. I've been fortunate enough to have a sneak preview before I've spoken today in what's behind there. It is marvelous, and it will be a huge benefit to the children of Barbados and also visitors to this beautiful island when they come and see it. It's very futuristic. I remember myself as a child going to the Natural History Museum in the UK and interacting with what I thought was state-of-the-art technology. This is the new state-of-the-art technology. I see a couple of kids down here who were playing away on their iPhones with little games, and I asked one of them, what do you prefer, your phone or the museum behind you? And you said, the museum behind you. It was the right answer. It was very much the right answer. And I think today we are all drawn to our phones. They're part of us. It's like a new umbilical cord. And we don't seem to be able to survive without them. But sometimes you have to sort of switch off, go away and go back to what should be and what we have behind us. And I'm really looking forward to going around afterwards and for you all to see it. It's truly remarkable. the work that the Maria Holder Memorial Trust does on the island is about, a significant amount of our work, is about education. We have the schools project that is motoring ahead. We have a new school at Government Hill opening at the beginning of next term, and other schools are currently being built. Education is so important. The children of today are our future. They will one day be standing up here, hopefully, saying some words about what good is being done in Barbados. Without my team, this wouldn't have been possible. They've worked tirelessly to get this across the line. Without my trustees, a lot wouldn't be possible either. And it's lovely here to also see Mary Brewster, Simone Brewster, and other Brewster family members. We tend to name everything that we do for Barbados after people who have, our loved ones who have gone before us and are eagerly waiting to see us, I hasten to add. And this museum, we decided that it should carry the name of my co-founder, Chesterfield Brewster's late son, Jarris, and I think Mary will say more about that. But for me, again, remembering a child for something that is here for children is extremely special. And I hope many, many people get lots of joy out of what has been given to this nation. Thank you all for listening. Enjoy the rest of the day. And that's it from me. Thank you.
Good morning once again. At this time, I'd like to invite Sir Trevor Carmichael, President of the Barbados Museum and Historical Society, to make his remarks.
Good morning, and thank you, Kay. Protocols have indeed been observed, and I think there's no objection if I re-observe them. Senator Dr. Ronald Springer, Parliamentary Secretary, Ms. Alessandra Cummins, Director of the Museum, Mr. Christopher Holder, Co-founder and Chairman of the Maria Holder Memorial Trust, Ms. Mary Brewster, and Ms. Simone Trotman, Trustee and Brewster Family Representative, respectively, and Mr. Kevin Farmer, Deputy Director, and people who will have stewardship of this wonderful gift, the museum curatorial staff, and you ladies and gentlemen who I'm sure will visit it regularly and bring people to visit it regularly. I say good morning to you all. And I've been asked to say a few words, and I'm very, very delighted to do so in my capacity as President of the Society. For this is not only a special occasion, but it is a historic one. It is historic because it recognizes a donation to this museum, which is huge in financial scope, and I say huge. It's deep and sincere in its generosity, and it's culturally and educationally far-reaching in its scope and potential. Allow me in these brief remarks to honor the Maria Holder Memorial Trust, its trustees, for their generosity and thoughtfulness and caring by placing this gift, this substantial gift, within a very short historical legacy of charitable giving in Barbados. And I came partially prepared, and having been goaded into this area by our director and her very useful historical introduction, I thought I would follow on by giving a little more about charitable giving in Barbados over the centuries, and say a few words on that, if you will bear with me. And I know the little ones don't want to be sitting for too long, but I promise you, you may hear a joke or two in there. But to all intents, the pioneering era of the 17th century in Barbados, very little was known of charitable giving or charities. But there was one society that originated in 1690, and it was formed by the London merchants and planters of Cockney origin, who on every 29th of October, they laid on a very substantial feast together with entertainment. And it was for all gentlemen, and the word gentleman was described, who were born within the songs of the bells of Bow Church in London. And obviously that qualified them as Cockneys. And at that church service, which inaugurated the festivity, a collection was taken for poor Cockney residents of the island. And that is maybe the first act of charitable giving that we have recorded in the history books here. But the 18th century which followed was more productive in terms of voluntary organizations, which were obviously of a more wide range and benevolent character. In January 1740, we saw the institution of Freemasonry, and it was divided into two groups, the ancient and the modern Masons, and they became unified in 1814. And that was a very widespread charitable giving from the Freemasonry Society. In August of 1777, the Barbados Literary Society was formed in Bridgetown, and this was followed in 1814 by the Library Association. And both of these bodies survived into the 1860s, and they donated their collections to the Barbados Public Library, which was then had been founded in law in 1847. In the 1780s, we had a Society of Arts, a commercial society, and the Barbados Whist Club, which played a good game of whist. These bodies were, however, of a specialized character and of limited application. And then in 1786 came an institution for the wider benefit of the society. Now, prior to 1786, and despite frequent outbreaks of various diseases over the years, government in Barbados had never taken an active role to provide institutional care for the sick. However, in 1786, a voluntary initiative was taken by a number of private individuals who set about raising funds for what was called the Barbados General Dispensary for the relief of the sick poor. And this was opened during the following October in now what is called Literary Row in Cheapside, in Bridgetown. And this small hospital was staffed by some of the island's leading medical doctors, who gave their services free of charge. It gave a valuable service to Bridgetown's poor for about 2 years, but unfortunately was forced to close before its third year through an apparent lack of funds in the end. The initiative, however, was taken over by its founders and was emulated in 1839 when a group of the island's leading citizens launched the Barbados General Hospital for the sick poor. And that opened its doors at Jemmett's Lane, the site of the old hospital as we know it, in 1844. And that obviously became the foundation for the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. But it started as a voluntary institution, supported by the doctors, giving them their services for free, individuals donating funds, and a general ethos of giving and happily so. It was, however, in September of 1798 when the birth of the Samaritan Charitable Society emerged, and its importance lay in the fact that it was organized by Bridgetown's free-colored and black community for providing assistance to the community's poor. The society was also responsible for starting the first school for free non-white children in 1819, and through the good offices of a young English officer, from St. Anne's Garrison right here, where we are, it was able to obtain some financial support from England. And then in 1825, it was taken under the wings of the established church, and it was termed the Coloured Charity School. And that, you may be surprised to learn, has now what was later called and named St. Mary's Church, or St. Mary's, actually. The 18th century witnessed the proliferation of voluntary organizations of various kinds. It was the glory days, if you will. Many were religious or semi-religious, aimed at providing religious education and moral principles within the society. The groups included some that sought to encourage abstention from strong drink. And between 1813 and 1880, there arose such bodies as the Barbados Temperance Society, the Barbados Society for the Suppression of Drunkenness and Intemperance, and the Barbados Temperance League. One organization formed in 1847 was the Total Abstinence Association, and that was headed by none other than Samuel Jackson Prescott, this island's first non-white parliamentarian. Another important group that emerged in the 1830s was represented by the Friendly Societies, which were launched in 1832 under the auspices of the Anglican Church, headed by Bishop Coleridge. And it was intended to provide the poor with a modicum of insurance against sickness and bereavement, and the Friendly Societies steadily increased in number. By the end of 1930, there were at least 238 Friendly Societies in Barbados. And we know that since then the number has steadily declined, but nevertheless, Friendly Societies have survived well into contemporary Barbados of today, and it's the whole basis of the credit unions. And I would also venture to say that it's also the basis of the meet and turn. And I'm sure many people here, if not members of a meet and turn, know about the meet and turn, where you get a group of people who donate and put money in every week or every month, as may be the case. And when each person's turn comes around and they get a certain amount that they can use, it's kind of like banking at the grassroots, if I may put it that way. Now, there's a lot more on this that I could go on, but I don't want to do that because we have the minister to speak and we have others to speak. So I'm not going to go and labor you with this, but there's a whole lot of stuff which goes on and which has gone on. And what I wanted to say at this stage is that it's against this background that we have the Maria Holder Memorial Trust, well governed, well organized, sensitive, caring, thoughtful, all of these things combined. They've done a play part for Welshman Hall Gully. You have equipped us with that Barbados Defence Force Field Emergency Medical Facility, which is extraordinary far-reaching in what it can do and will do, and indeed has done during this recent pandemic. You've given to the Barbados Council for the Disabled, and you've spread your wings, even those starting here, you've spread your wings elsewhere, and your charitable and children-focused generosity has extended to the West Dominica Children's Federation. So I therefore seek to put this extraordinary gift, this impressive gift, a gift of true and tested skill, a gift from an organization well grounded in its philanthropic focus. I put this gift, therefore, as extraordinary for us here at the museum. We feel humbled to have received it. We feel grateful. And I will end by saying what is possibly a cliche, but very often cliches are also true. We, the Barbados Museum and Historical Society, and by extension, all those who people Barbados. I say people Barbados, those who live here, those who come here, whether they be Barbadian or not. Those who people Barbados. We cannot thank you enough for this extraordinary gift of enormous proportions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir Trevor. At this time, I'd like to welcome Miss Mary Brewster, trustee of the Maria Holder Memorial Trust, to say a few words.
Thank you. Oh, you want to see how tall I am? Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. First, I want to apologize for being late. I seem to have come down the road from the airport, behind every truck in Barbados that was driving at 0 miles per hour. But I'm glad to be here. And it is an honor for me also, ladies and gentlemen, to always have an opportunity to tell you about who we are and what we do and why we do it. So I want to start by saying good morning, good morning, good morning to you children, most special children. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here to witness the opening of Jairus Brewster Children's Gallery. Also, I want to take this time to thank all the shareholders who have been involved in creating this picturesque scene, this space. We thank you and we honor the greatness in you. I will start with a quote from Nelson Mandela. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. End of quote. This children's gallery is a collage of exhibits of the environment, energy, wildlife, engineering, health, and the body. It's an education filled to fill the minds of those who want to pursue it. We believe that children are precious. You are precious, little ones. You are like sponges, and your minds are even like a blank slate, waiting to be given every opportunity to abundantly grow for a purpose, for your God-given purpose. The Jairus Brewster Children's Gallery was designed to put the powerful tools of education into your hands, who are our tomorrow. You are our precious children. Jairus was born to two beautiful parents, the Honorable Chesterfield Brewster and his wife, Susan Brewster, who, if were here today in person, would have delivered this message themselves. But I, Auntie Mary, had to do it for them. Of course, they've asked me to extend their apologies for not being here at this time. However, their also beautiful daughter, Simone Trotman, Jairus' sister, along with her husband, Kwesi Trotman, are here. Thank you for coming. Cousin Neil Hope, my son, and his beautiful wife, Young Me, are also here. And you would have already met Uncle Christopher Holder. Chester and Susan, the parents of Jairus, named their son after Jairus in the Bible, who was a caretaker of the synagogues. Now, most would have heard of this story, I'm sure, about himself and his daughter who died. But apparently, Jesus said that she was just asleep. Like Jesus, we need to see the importance and the value of our children. They are arrows in our quiver, gifts from God. According to Chester and Susan, This story, as they have noted, is about hope and love. For those parents who may have lost your children, you will understand that your love for your children appear to go on in your lives forever. Jairus was with his family for just over Jairus was with his family for just about 5 to 6 weeks, but his presence lives on because, as they would say, he was created with love for love. We all know that technology today has afforded us a tsunami of information, but there is nothing like sightseeing with your family, friends, or even classmates live in person. Parents, guardians, caregivers, I appeal to you today, now and even more urgent, to grasp every single moment you can with your children. Come and visit the Jairus Brewster Children's Gallery, which was created with you in mind. And I'm ending here. From the hearts of Chester and Susan Brewster, Simone, her husband, Neil, Youngme, and myself, and all the Brewster family, not to mention Mr. Holder and his tribe. Let's learn the old-fashioned way. May I remind you, interacting inquisitively with urgent questions and enjoying this space, then walking away with a changed mindset of gained knowledge. And most importantly, an unforgettable experience. Thank you, and do enjoy the gallery.
Thank you, Mary, for those wonderful words on behalf of the family. At this time, I would like to invite Senator, the Honorable Dr. Rommel Springer, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, to make some brief remarks.
Pleasant good morning to everyone here assembled. Before I start, I too want to express my gratitude, my thanks for the museum for inviting me here this morning to address you. Just over a decade ago, I was a student of history, was a student of heritage, really. And I would have done many of my courses right here on the grounds of the museum. Spent many an hour here studying at this museum, I think just behind there in a room there. So to be here this morning speaking at the launch of this facility gives me great pleasure, and I really want to express that gratitude of how humble I am to be here this morning. In 1945, the Barbados Museum and Historical Society opened its first children's gallery. Some 47 years later, in 1992, the exhibition termed Yesterday's Children opened, which show what life for our children in Barbados was like through the years. It included toys, craft, games, and many other things that told the story of our upbringing. Though well loved by many, the gallery required an update to better serve today's children. And so, today, in partnership with the Maria Holder Memorial Trust, the museum is pleased to launch Explore, which is Barbados' new children's gallery. This dynamic gallery offers many opportunities for children to understand the world in which they live, but through a Barbadian lens. It is first and foremost a wonderful, entertaining experience for children, as well as a much-needed interactive, constructivist learning tool that supports our education system. This will no doubt assist our primary school teachers especially with the demonstration of fundamental learning concepts in an accessible environment. Children across Barbados will be able to benefit from hands-on learning with the collaborative assistance of their teachers and the education team here at the Barbados Museum, which I know will meet their early developmental needs. This project, completed with the input and assistance of professional educators and child psychologists, as well as parent representatives, and tested on real children who provided their enthusiastic feedback, would not have been possible without the engagement of the community, which now stands to benefit from its creation. Explore will engage and facilitate and fascinate our children. It will fill them with excitement and wonder, and it will no doubt make learning interactive and fun. Moreover, the gallery is accessible to all. It has been designed to be inclusive for all children, regardless of their physical or developmental stages, or any challenges that the child may face. And so, we at the Ministry of Education, Technological and Vocational Training, just like those who spoke before me, is looking forward to seeing our children by the thousands benefit from the use of this new facility, which will include specially developed programming activities to engage and edify our nation's future generations. We too encourage all parents and guardians to bring their children here and to visit this child-focused learning and playing facility. And with those words, I also want to express thanks and gratitude to the Trust on behalf of the Minister of Education and indeed the Ministry of Education and the people of Barbados. I thank you.
At this time, we are going to have the unveiling of the plaque. So if Mrs. Mary Brewster, Ms. Simone Trotman, and the other members of the dignitary party can join us. A director, deputy director, please come. Minister. Good. Thank you so much, everyone, for your patience. At this time, we'd like to invite Mr. Kevin Farmer, who will end our formal program today with our vote of thanks.
I'm not that tall, though. All protocols having been established. Good afternoon. I want to thank you all for being here this morning. The opening of this gallery for the children of Barbados is testimony to faith and perseverance and the combined efforts of what teamwork can achieve. Thank you to our speakers this morning for the remarks. To the Parliamentary Secretary, the Honourable Dr. Mel Springer, thank you for reminding us of the role of the museums in the education of our children. To Sir Trevor Carmichael and Christopher Holder, providing us the background to the collaboration, and the museum's director, those links between the role of education and the role of the museum in national development. To the Honourable Chesterfield and Susan Brewster, represented by Mary Brewster and the Brewster family this morning, thank you not only for your kind words, but for allowing us to name the gallery in Jairus' honour and memory. The initial idea of this gallery was born when we at the museum realized that the existing children's gallery, which has been alluded to, created in 1992, was no longer viable in 2013. A small team at the time comprised the education officer Peggy McGarry, our art curator Alison Calder, and myself, set about a task of trying to figure out what to do given our limited budget and time frame. That initial idea of simply sprucing up what was the existing gallery, we decided simply was not good enough. It had been expanded tenfold, growing to encompass many people, ideas, selections, and approvals. And it is to those persons I wish to address the following remarks. That expanded concept of a refurbished gallery to the idea of a museum for children was discussed, expanded upon and given its ideological backbone and design concept by the late Dennis Brennan. Explore, as the gallery is named, was his, guided, I would like to believe, by our discussions and the initial proposal created by that in-house team. The overall concept was such: to create a museum for children in which play was the main motivator. The museum remains committed to that idea, to provide a children's museum on the island of Barbados that will stimulate inquiry and learning for all children, regardless of individual developmental needs, differing physical abilities, and cognitive skills. This first of a kind, at the time museum, but gallery, and we'll get to that, will cater for children from early childhood to age 11 specifically, and provide a space in which they can play, interact with objects and concepts, and participate in programs which develop their creativity, their understanding of the environment, their heritage, and ultimately themselves. That dream of creating a children's museum, a first of its kind in the Eastern Caribbean, is still part of our mission. The realization of achieving that dream is marked by this first step, enabled by the kind and generous donation of the Maria Holder Memorial Trust, led by its co-founder Christopher Holder, SEM, and the Honourable Chesterfield Brewster of the commissioning of this gallery. To Jane Armstrong and Rochelle Roach, thank you for believing in this project from conception. Jane, we owe you a debt of gratitude that can only be repaid by the inquisitive minds that will be inspired as they interact with the galleries. The conceptualization of this exhibit is a team effort. From what objects should be chosen, what items should we select, what questions do we wish answered, how should it look and feel? For Explore, that was led from the museum side by the council member Dr. Tara Ennis, assisted by a diverse team of educators, business professionals, and parents. But that was said earlier, but I just want to name some names. Dr. Cheryl Rock, Desiree Brown, Erica Hewitt, Vernon Knight, Lisa Padmore, Margarita Clark, Renata Mohammed, and Dr. Roger Redder. They questioned and pulled apart that initial concept prepared by Dennis Brennan, added to it into what was called the Book of Ideas, refined it, out of which was produced plan designs and feel by Richard Mathers of Quality Design after Dennis's passing. To the museum subcommittee, a gracious thank you for your dedication as you gave to us your time to make this gallery a reality. The content document of the exhibition was created by colleague and friend Dr. Rosalind Russell of Australia. To Kay Hall, our education officer, who wrote some of the text you will see, but proofread all of it in its various and many iterations. Thank you. To have you to brainstorm our ideas with and issues was invaluable. To Richard Maffers, who could not be here today, thank you for a great design. To manifest his design into reality, our great appreciation to Aviv Limited of the UK for the value engineering and building out of a highly finished and exciting exhibit. The look and feel, as Christopher said, is simply awesome. To Bruce and Julie Davies, the directors and installation team who journeyed to Barbados and installed the exhibit, for sharing your knowledge of our staff during that period. A heartfelt thanks. These galleries, whose construction physically would not have been possible without the project management of Cooper Kaufman, embodied in Mark McGuire and Richard Watson. Your dedication and meticulous nature was incalculable. To Bruce Jardine of Gillespie and Steele, your commitment to adaptive reuse and preservation of historic buildings is unwavering. The construction of works were undertaken by CRS Building and Maintenance, led by Sidney Benman. Electrical consultancy by Alan Harvey and Alex Guppy of Electrical and Mechanical Consulting Engineers. Electrical installation by Simmons Electrical, led by Alan Simmons. Your professionalism and dedication is much appreciated. To the children and parents who tested the new exhibition, allowed us to work out the kinks, ensured what worked, thank you. In fact, I would say one of the children gave the best marketing promotion ever. At the end of the test, his mum turned to him and said it was time to go. His reply was to cry and say, I don't want to, this is fantastic. You've allowed us to fill the gap. Originally, what we wanted to do was to create a space, for there was no single space on this island dedicated as an educational resource which is accessible to all children, parents, and caregivers, and that would accelerate a child's creativity and development by providing an interactive, innovative, and educational environment suitable for learning. Well, today, there is. The ideation for such a gallery does not happen in a vacuum. One must be given the space in which to develop such ideas and in turn make them into reality. That is enabled in an environment that allows for such creativity, and it is so at the museum. This is possible through the leadership at the level of council, as embodied by Sir Trevor, council president, and executed at the operational level by our museum director, Ms. Alessandra Cummings, whose vision and leadership provided the space for this reimagining to occur. We come now to today, the dedication and opening of our newest gallery. This event would not have been possible without the museum staff, the maintenance staff led by Prince Leon, comprised of Shaquan and Akil, for ensuring walls and doors were painted, plaques were installed, to Myrna, Sandra, and Movita, for ensuring that the interior gallery is spotless, to Lachey Drayton, our marketing officer, Andrina Cadogan, events coordinator, and Elena Pinder, our communications coordinator, a heartfelt thank you for planning and managing this event and preparing the promotional material for this launch. Lastly, as I near the end, on behalf of the Museum Council and staff, to extend again our sincerest appreciation to the Maria Holder Memorial Trust for this collaboration and assisting us in realizing this vision for the children of Barbados. To the Brewster family for allowing us to dedicate the gallery in memory of Jairus. Words cannot begin to express our gratitude. If I have forgotten anyone, the fault is mine, and simply accept both my apologies and my thanks for helping us to reach this occasion. Please note, our work has now begun. At this time, I would like to invite Christopher up to the podium to provide him with a visa for himself and the trustees and their families. This visa will allow the trustees and families to come as often as they wish, to play, to explore, and simply to enjoy.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Great job. That's great. Wow. Wow. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to officially open the Jairus Brewster Children's Gallery and invite you to explore.